Before we start, help me beat the city of Dothan to 1,000 subscribers, so subscribe. For our first movie, we have Shelter. This movie is about a former assassin, which you're going to hear a lot in this video, that hid from his work and then saves a girl from drowning and now risks his life and identity to protect. And it starts out with a very pretty ocean scene that they then ruin by having unrealistic waters and the main character do CPR wrong. But again, it's very visually appealing, but they also ruin it by going from a very pretty Scottish scenery to a very ugly city. Also, there's an extreme lack of action for the first hour. But when you get to the action, the first action scene is very sick. And it's very realistic. There's one specific part where the main character holds down the pressure lock to shoot a nail gun, which I was like, these people know what they're doing. This is great. But then they go and ruin it by having the next two action sequences be terrible and extremely unrealistic. They're blurry, ugly, and they just are very short and not very fulfilling. And they pretty much throw that whole initial vibe they had going on at the start of the movie out the window. So for that, I'm giving it a C. That first fight scene was not long enough or good enough to carry the rest of the movie. So moving on, we have The Beekeeper. So this movie starts out with a retired operative of a elite organization or a assassination group known as the Beekeepers. And then the main character's girl gets unalived by fall damage, if you know what I mean. Then the main character goes out for revenge. And for the first fight scene, it's nothing special. It's mid, it's got nothing going for it. But then you ramp up to the next fight scene, which has amazing lighting and some pretty cool executions. Some stuff that I haven't seen in a while or haven't seen in general. So this instantly gets you excited for the rest of the film. And they don't let you down by having the next fight scene be very fun and have a minigun and a gas station involved, which you know how that will go. And they don't let you down. For the final fight scene, it gets pretty intense. There's a couple fun kills and ends with a really good back and forth struggle. So for that, I'm gonna give it a A. Not perfect, not terrible, but it was a bit cheesy and creative at the same time. And it shows they were really trying to make something different, so I think this score matches perfectly. Now we have Hobbs and Shaw. This movie is about Jason and The Rock teaming up to stop a cyber terrorist from unleashing COVID-20 on the world. I won't lie, when I first watched this, all I cared about was The Rock. So to say I watched it for the action is a 50-50 chance. But this movie is definitely the highest budget movie, and it shows, because this movie is the most visually appealing out of all of his movies. And I love the teamwork makes the dream work message is implanted at the end. But moving on to the action is by far the best part of this film. Purely from the high budget alone, they have a lot of big names like The Rock, and it just adds a level of humor and talent that is unmatched compared to the other ones. As well as you have a lot of high scale, high budget stunts that happen in this movie that are way better than anything that's been in the other ones. So honestly, I enjoyed this movie a ton. It's probably my favorite movie on this list, so I'm gonna give it high S tier. This is one of the few Jason Statham movies I've actually enjoyed, and now we know more money means more better. Moving on, we have Meg 1 and 2. The Meg 1 and 2 are about sharks, and Meg 2 has octopus. And the Meg 1 and 2 were my first, not only shark movies, but Jason Statham movies. So coming back to them is like sniffing a line of nostalgia. Not that that matters though, because these movies are some of the greatest things to ever exist. Because literally, who is hating on a movie where a dude 1v1's a massive shark? Like, purely off the sharks alone, I'm giving this movie a S tier anyways. But the action in these movies are like no other. Like, this dude literally stops a massive shark with his leg. And it only gets better with Meg 2, because not only does the fighting get better, but they add a massive kraken into the game. And it just turns this into a freaking Fortnite event. So these movies don't even feel real, like it's giving me a hard time even realizing I watched them. And every time it'll be a 10 out of 10 rewatch, because they're just so hype. So Meg 1 and 2 are both going in S tier. I do not care what y'all have to say. And last up, we have Mutiny, the movie that just came out. And Mutiny is about Jason Statham getting framed for murder, and he goes out and hunts down the real murderer, while he gets chased by people like the police trying to get revenge. Oh, and he takes down a human trafficking ship, which I feel was a bit unnecessary for this film. Like, they just slipped it in there as an extra storyline. But this one is probably the most action-packed out of all of these. And they seem to go for a more bloody and gore route than really trying to do some kind of crazy storyline, crazy creative stuff. I'm not saying it wasn't creative, but it could have been better. Like, there wasn't that many cool kills. There were a couple, but there could have been a lot more. And he's just had better movies. But I will say, when the kills do get creative, it's really cool, like using a freaking lock to wring someone's jaw out. And nothing I haven't seen before, so I'm gonna give it a B. But you can tell what kind of movie they were going for, with not really focusing on the story too much and really making sure this is a action film, which I can truly respect, because a lot of these focus way too much on the story and not enough on the action, especially Shelter. That one's pretty bad. So comment your thoughts. Do you agree with my ranking? I think this is the most base ranking of all time, especially the Meg one. And yeah, have a good day. Bye-bye.